Now let's move on to next one, cryptographic methods, symmetric and asymmetric. So when it comes to encryption, there are two methods. One is called symmetric encryption. The second one is called asymmetric encryption. Now let me tell you what is the difference between the two. And let's go back to the drawing board and I will erase everything. All right. Now, let's say again, we have this user A and we have user B. So user A wants to communicate with user B and they want to communicate securely. So with symmetric encryption, what happens is that a single key is used. One key is used for both encryption as well as decryption purposes. All right. So user A will take a message, a plain text message, and it will convert it into a ciphertext message using symmetric encryption. Okay, and then send the ciphertext to user B. Now user B will need to have the same key. If the key is, let's say, 123, user B will need to have the same key on his side as well to be able to decrypt this message. All right. Now it is simple, it is very effective, and it is very fast because it is not very CPU intensive. So when you have a bulk data that needs to be sent from one system to another system, symmetric encryption is the one that is used most of the times. All right. But there are some challenges with this method of encryption. The challenges are that user A and user B, in this case, both of them need to somehow exchange the same key. So if user A wants to use the key 123, it has to somehow tell user B that the key is 123. So they have to communicate the key securely, right? They can, for example, if they are in the same office, user A can walk up to user B and tell that this is the key. Or if they are remote, maybe user A can give a call to user B and tell that, hey, the key that I'm using is 123. But there has to be some mechanism, and it better be secure. There has to be some mechanism for the two users to agree on the key that they want to use if they plan on using symmetric encryption. Okay. So that is one challenge, because now let's say user A wants to communicate with user C as well. So that means user A will need to have another key. Let's say now user wants to use a key 456. So user A will need to send this key as well to user C, right? So as the number of users increase, the number of keys also increase. So the manageability and the scalability part comes into picture now. So the more the number of users in this overall system of communication, the more the number of keys, and then the more the number of keys, the more difficult it is for people to exchange the keys, and then to manage those keys. So that is one challenge of symmetric encryption. Another problem is that it only provides you confidentiality. What is confidentiality? Confidentiality is the ability to make sure that some information can only be accessed by the authorized individuals. It cannot be accessed by unauthorized individuals. All right. And that is what this encryption does as well, right? If user A encrypts a message and sends it and encrypts it using this key, it can only be read by user B, who has the same key. It cannot be read by user C. Even if user C were to get hold of this ciphertext, user C would not be able to understand this, right? Because user C does not have the same key, 123. User C has a different key. So it only provides confidentiality. Symmetric encryption provides only confidentiality. And also, it does not provide you authenticity or non-repudiation. Authenticity and non-repudiation are two sides of the same coin, I would say, which means that you cannot prove who sent the message, right? Because the thing is, if I show you a message, let's say this is the ciphertext message, which was obtained by encrypting this plain text. Now, if you were to take a look at this message, you say, all right, this is the ciphertext, but can you say that this message was encrypted by user A? No, because this message was encrypted by using this key, and this key is with user B as well, right? So by looking at this message, you can't tell whether this message was encrypted by user A or by user B, because this message is encrypted with this key, and this key is with more than one person, right? So you cannot provide, so symmetric encryption does not provide you authenticity. It does not provide you authentication because you cannot prove who is the one who actually sent the message, because there is more than one person who has the key that was used to encrypt the message. Similarly, it cannot provide you non-repudiation as well. Non-repudiation means that somebody performs an action and then we have no proof to say that it was that person indeed who performed that action. So if somebody encrypted this message and later says that if let's say user A encrypted this message and later denies sending this message, can you prove that this message was indeed sent by user A by looking at the key? No, right? Because this key is with user B as well. Maybe this ciphertext was actually generated by user B and not by user A. So that is non-repudiation, which means, so it cannot provide you non-repudiation, which means that you cannot prove certain action. All right. So remember this, that symmetric encryption only provides you confidentiality. It does not provide you authenticity and non-repudiation. All right. And then the challenge was the management of keys. Let's go back to the mind map. So symmetric key, what does it do? The same key is used for encryption as well as decryption, like I just explained. Both sender and receiver need to have the same key to exchange encrypted messages, right? I just explained that. Security of symmetric algorithm is dependent on the protection of the key, because like I had said earlier, that most of the algorithms are public. So the only way symmetric algorithm is secure is how secure your key is, how securely you have managed or exchanged the key. If the key is compromised, then the game is over. And like I said earlier, it is primarily used for bulk encryption. And why is it used for bulk encryption? Because it is much faster and it is less computationally intensive than asymmetric algorithms. So I'll just explain that asymmetric algorithms in just a few minutes. And we've covered this as well. It provides only confidentiality. It does not provide you authentication or non-repudiation, because looking at an encrypted message, you cannot tell whether user 1 or user 2 encrypted it, because both have the same key, right? And another name that is used for symmetric encryption is uh, is secret key cryptography or private key cryptography. I know it can be confusing at times, but if you see this term in the exam, especially like secret key cryptography or private key cryptography, it is symmetric encryption. They are talking about symmetric encryption. All right. Now, some of the algorithms, the encryption algorithms which are symmetric, they are given here: DES, 3DES, AES, RC4, RC5, RC6, Blowfish. These are all algorithms which are symmetric. Okay. And then there is this chart here for reference purpose, which tells you the block size of each of these encryptions and the key size that they use. So block is something, I'll explain that block in just a few moments. Okay. So that is symmetric encryption. Now there are two types of symmetric algorithms. First one is a block cipher and the second one is a stream cipher. So first one is a block cipher. Now what is a block cipher? Let's go back to the drawing board. So in case of a block cipher, what happens is that, let's say you have this message here, and which needs to be encrypted using symmetric encryption. Now, the complete message is not encrypted in one go. Okay. It is divided into small chunks using a block cipher. So I'm talking about a block cipher. Again, don't forget, cipher means algorithm. Cipher or algorithm, it's one and the same thing. So block cipher, what it does is it takes the message. So let's say this is a 1,000-bit message. So there are 1,000 bits in this message which need to be encrypted. And let's say the encryption algorithm that is being used is DES. Okay, I'm just making it up. And let's say the DES is a 100-block algorithm, 100-bit block algorithm. So what it will do is it will take that message, which is of 1,000 bits, and it will divide the 1,000 bits message into 100 bits blocks. So each block will be of 100 bits, because that is how this algorithm works. It's a 100-bit block algorithm. Okay, so it will divide this 1,000-bit message into 100-bit blocks, and then it will encrypt each block separately. So it will take this block first and then apply the block algorithm. It will take then the second block of 100 bits, apply the algorithm, and so on. And then it will send the message to the receiving party. And then the receiving party will again apply the same process, but in reverse, to be able to decrypt this message. All right. So that is a block cipher because it works on chunks of data. Then there is something called a stream cipher. And don't forget, these are both parts of symmetric algorithm. Okay. So in symmetric algorithm, in stream cipher, you have the same message, which is of, let's say, 1000 bits. But instead of dividing this 1000 bits message into chunks, into blocks, it is divided into, it is not divided, but each bit is encrypted separately. So it takes each bit and encrypts that bit. It takes the next bit, encrypts it, takes the next bit, and it encrypts it. So there are different scenarios where stream cipher makes more sense than block cipher, but you should understand what is the basic difference between a block cipher and a stream cipher. All right. So in stream cipher, it works like a stream. So it is a stream of bits comes, and each bit is encrypted as it is delivered. So okay, one quick example is, let's say you are working remotely on some remote system. So this is your system where you are working, and you are, let's say, logged into a router, a remote router. All right. And as you are typing your commands, those commands are sent to the router, but they are sent securely because you have SSH'd into the router, not telnetted into the router, right? So you're not sending chunks of data in one go. You are sending each letter, you are typing, let's say, for example, show run. So you are typing SHOW. So as those commands are being sent, as those letters are being sent, they have to be encrypted, right? Those are the cases in which stream cipher makes more sense, where each bit is encrypted as it is received. But if you have to send some, for example, some message to somebody, some email, or maybe some other kind of message to somebody where you have a chunk of data, then block cipher makes more sense. All right. So this is what I was explaining. It works on blocks or chunks of bits, and these blocks are put through encryption algorithm one block at a time. And then this is the example. If the message is 1280 bits and the block cipher algorithm uses 128 bits, then the message will be divided into 10 blocks of 128 bits each, just like the example that I gave. Next one is stream cipher. As I said, it works on each bit individually. And instead of dividing the message into blocks, it performs encryption algorithm on each bit or character separately. All right.